First things first, we are back here with Super Bowl champ Greg Jennings. Good morning, Greg. Greg Jennings, we are going to party like it's 2011 because Brady and Gronk apparently are. They are turning back the clocks in Tampa. Brady leads the league with 9 passing touchdowns. Gronk leads the league with 4 receiving touchdowns. They both lead the league in conversation sitting by a kiddie pool. Nick, I'll start with you. Do you think Bill Belichick sees this? And somewhere, somehow, deep down in his heart, where nobody's watching, sitting in a room by himself, perhaps maybe regrets letting Brady and Gronk go?
Well, it's shaping up to be the single worst sports decision since a different disaster in the New England area. And that's trading Babe Ruth. Like, that's wild. I know you don't want to hear it. But that's where we're at. Wow. Like, at least the Babe Ruth trade, Harry Frazee was broke and wanted to put on a new musical. So he had a reason for it. Yeah. Belichick had no reason for it. Ooh. So you're going to be like, what about Bowie over Jordan? Well, you had Clyde Drexler and Jordan was a rookie. Bill Russell was traded the day of the draft. Yeah, but again, you didn't know he was going to be Bill Russell. You knew what Tom Brady was. You knew what Gronk was. And you pushed him out, Wilds. And so let's just go through the timeline of this,
Wilds,
and you tell me where I'm missing it. Wilds by proxy. 2014, they draft Jimmy Garoppolo. It's totally reasonable. They hadn't won a Super Bowl in a decade. They're like, hey, we got to start looking to the future, right? But then that year, they beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. 2 years later, Brady orchestrates the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history against Atlanta. And that offseason, he wants Jimmy G gone. Belichick won't do it, goes into the year, and Brady has to go to Kraft and say, I want him out of here. And Kraft forces Belichick's hand, right? So that's what happened in 2017. They go back to the Super Bowl and lose. Brady throws for 500 yards. The next season, Belichick tries to trade Rob Gronkowski to the Lions. We know this. Rob told us, right? We know that. That's not speculation. He was trading him to the Lions. Rob had to threaten to retire to veto that trade. How did that season end? With Rob Gronkowski making the biggest plays in the AFC Championship game against my Chiefs in overtime, and Rob Gronkowski making the only explosive offensive play in the Super Bowl. The Patriots win again 13-3. That offseason, Gronk retires because Belichick's done with him. Brady wants a new contract. They won't give it to him. So they then rework it, give him a little extra money. Brady puts his house on the market because they are saying we're done with you. Well, now smash cut 2 years later. They won a Super Bowl, they being Brady and Gronk. They are right now the leaders in touchdown passes and receptions. And the Patriots are out here doing check down Charlie to Jonnu Smith, trying to eke out 17-16 wins. How is this not an abject disaster? How? Tell me how it's not.
Okay, first of all, because this takes 2 to tango. Broussard, the issue that Belichick pushed out Tom Brady and pushed out Gronk is just not true. Tom Brady put his house on the market. We won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady put his house on the market, said it's not a big deal. He wanted out. And I don't think anyone in New England is that mad at him. You gave us 20 years. After 20 years of being with the team, I think it's okay to say, like, you know what? It's time. I would like to try something new. And I think that's totally fair. Do I think Belichick can sort of wear on you? Yeah. But you know what else you get to wear in the process? 6 Super Bowl rings. Maybe it's not 25 years. Maybe you put in 2 decades of good times with Bill Belichick in a system that grinds you and demands the best out of you every time. I think that's okay. So look, do I think Belichick says, I probably should have kept our 44-year-old quarterback? No, I think everyone in their right mind, when you're trying to build a franchise, has to look forward. And I'm not mad at Bill Belichick for saying, you know what, this guy probably doesn't have it, and being wrong. He still does have it. Gronk, meanwhile, the story about Gronk is totally different because I think that year off did wonders for Gronk. I actually think that should probably be something that we see more often in the NFL, where guys get worn down physically, take almost like a gap year, and come back super healthy. So do I think Belichick is thinking of literally anything other than the Saints? No. and we've got the we got the Bucks week 4. No, I think Belichick is totally focused on the Saints. I don't think he regrets this.
Well, first, Nick, let me throw out another bad decision that I think you overlooked.
Oh.
How about 1999, the Bulls picking Jerry Krause because he wouldn't bring back Phil Jackson as coach over Michael Jordan, right? And Jordan ends up retiring after winning 6 rings. Maybe they would have won another one. So I think you got to throw that in there. But as far as Belichick, Brady, Gronk, I don't think Belichick regrets it yet. He will, but I don't think he does yet because he was so eager. After 6 championships, he clearly was eager to show what he could do without Tom Brady. And I think in his mind, it was prove what he could do without Tom Brady. All right, he obviously had tried to get Jimmy Garoppolo in as his replacement. All right, and so he was ready to move on. He was tired of Alex Guerrero and his influence as Brady's trainer and his influence in the locker room. So he wanted Brady out of there. All right, and I don't know that Brady, as much as I like him, he's my pick for preseason MVP, for MVP in the preseason. But as much as I like him and what he's doing, I don't know that he would have done this in New England or continue to because Belichick may not have gone and gotten him the weapons, right? He's got weapons galore in Tampa Bay, Greg. And that's one reason he's doing what he's doing. Now, as time goes on, maybe if they win the Super Bowl this year in Tampa, as the losses mount up for Belichick, even if he makes the playoffs, they're not winning anything big with this team. And as people begin to say more and more, it was Brady. It's clear now. It was all Brady. Belichick's a good coach, but it was Brady. That's when he will begin to regret what he did, Greg.
Yeah, I don't think he regrets it because he has a way of conducting business. As a general manager, as a head coach, when you wear both of those hats, you conduct your operation a certain way. And to your point, Chris, Bill Belichick wasn't willing to sprinkle all of these pieces around Tom Brady where he was in his career at 40 plus years old. He just wasn't willing to do it. And he had never done that. And so you're asking a coach to now, later in your career, where everyone believes that the end is closer than anything else, you want me to surround you with everything you need and continue to build around you? No, the way I've always operated is I build to the future so that we can sustain success. And to Nick's point, I think it all came to a head where Bill Belichick made the decision, and he was forced in making the decision to get rid of what he felt like was the individual in Jimmy Garoppolo that could take the baton and continue on with the success. So as a player, anytime you depart from an organization and you've been there for a long period of time, yes, you want to stick it to them. Yes, you want to prove that you still had more left. But I believe that Bill Belichick was in the mindset of the mind frame of, look, whatever he has left, he has left. I'm willing to let him go. If he were to have any type of strings that he could have attached, he could have played that a lot different years before. He wouldn't just have let Tom Brady just walk out on his own to go anywhere he so choose. I was in a situation when Brett Favre, he retired, and the Green Bay Packers would not let him go to the Minnesota Vikings. I was in, this is real. Aaron Rodgers, this past offseason, they're not just going to let an individual go. Why? Because they know that they would regret it if that player continued to have success. That was not the situation. I know circumstances were a little bit different when we talk about Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, but Bill Belichick's focus wasn't on how great is he going to be wherever he leaves and goes outside of this. No, he really believed that I'm going to sustain the culture and the winning ways that I've already established, and that just did not happen last year.
But he was wrong.
Correct.
He could be wrong.
I'll throw it back to you, Nick. And here's the difference between the Packers and the Patriots. The Packers are a legendary franchise since the very beginning of the NFL. The Patriots were terrible. The Patriots were the laughingstock of the entire league. When I was growing up, going to the Patriots, I'd go to the nobody was there. It was embarrassing. And Bill Belichick came in as the steward of the franchise and turned a laughingstock franchise into one of the symbols of excellence in sports around the world. Around the world. Is the decision? No. Has he turned a laughingstock franchise into the greatest franchise in sports for 2 decades? Yes. Does he have to take one on the chin because the Bucs are going to be good for 2 years? Sure, but that's the trade-off.
No, but it wasn't. But you didn't have to have the trade-off. First of all, you could have had all of it. If he would have just done what the owner wanted, what the fans wanted, and not push out the greatest player in the history of the sport, you could have had all of it.
Good morning, Greg.
Second of all, we're not going to retcon the Patriots pre-Brady and Belichick into the Bengals. They made a Super Bowl in the 80s. They made a Super Bowl in the 90s. They had Drew Bledsoe. They were not the sad sack nobody believes in us Cleveland Browns. That's not true. And okay, but you made 2 of them.
The new Citi Custom Cash Card automatically adjusts to where your spending is trending.
Never had any quality seasons. Yeah, listen, the 85 Bears are pretty damn good, and you shouldn't have kicked off to Desmond Howard. I agree.
First things first.
But at least you were in the game. And your point about Gronk, I agree with. The year off helped him. But if Brady was still there, you don't think if Gronk came back, he wouldn't have come back to New England? Of course he did. And I love you, Wilds. I adore you. But you and these Patriot fans, and this is me defending Tom Brady, that always go to, he put his house on the market. If you're in a